Hey everybody, how's it going? Blades of God here from Hammer Bros Gaming, coming at you with our newest Gears Tactics Immortal Legion Achievement Guide. Today we're going to be talking about Act 1-6 Part 2, and that is the Brumak boss fight. In my opinion, this is the hardest boss fight in the game. The Corpser at the end of Act 2 is very predictable, very easy. Okay, not very easy, but a lot easier. And the Hydra at the end, once you know at the end of the game, once you know the patterns of how it's going to attack and where the enemies spawn in, not that difficult. It's a lot longer of a fight, but not that difficult if you have your character set up and you have the right equipment. With that being said, this is very challenging. You are going to die a lot. I died a lot. But, you know, it's nothing that can't be overcome if you stick with it. I'm going to show you guys the tactics that I used. One thing I want to note right off the bat is that a lot of people recommend taking out the Brumak's arm guns to reduce the amount of damage you're going to take. I don't mess around with that. I start attacking the emulsion tanks right on his back from the get-go. You can take out the guns. It might make things a little bit easier for you, but it's that many more turns that the Brumak can try and close on you and do a stomp attack. It's that many more turns that you potentially get cornered with a double missile coming down on you. And it's that many more turns for an E-hole to open up or a Reaver to drop off locust reinforcements. So it's a lot of headaches for a very small payout because, surprisingly, the arm cannons do not do a lot of damage. So you can usually tank those even with very untanky characters, and it won't be an issue. If you find this video helpful, if you find this series helpful, please like the video, consider giving us a follow or a subscribe. But I'm going to have a lot more of these videos coming up, not only for Gears Tactics, but for Gears 5. I have a Dead Space achievement guide going. I have a Vanquished for the old game Vanquished going. So plenty of achievement guides and other sorts of videos on our channel. Just join Hammer Nation, become a part of the team. We'd love to have you on board. Check out some of our awesome merch. And yeah, that's enough gabbing from me. Let's get right into the video because I'm sure that's why you're here. Alright, well let's talk about some Brumak stuff. So the Brumak starts out with missile launchers, and he starts out with chain guns. So when he launches his missiles at first, it's only 2 missiles. You can see the red targeting reticle. That's where the missile is going to strike. You have 1 turn to clear that area. The chain gun, he will choose 1 or 2 of your units and fire at them with the chain guns. The chain guns do surprisingly little damage. So, like I said, we're not going to worry about actually taking out the chain guns on his arms. We're just going to be focusing on his back and try and hit those emulsion tanks. Big thing right now, you want to make sure that you move yourself away from the Brumak. He also has a stomp attack, so if he gets too close to you, he will stomp on you, and that is pretty much a one-hit KO. You're actually set up in a fairly good position here where you have 2 units on each side, and you can alternate shooting at his back. It's not guaranteed you're going to get this many criticals. You can see I'm going to almost take out his entire emulsion tank in the first, or one of his emulsion tanks in the very first turn. And you can see where I'm moving Sid and Gabe over to this side. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to keep them far enough away from that Brumak where it's not going to, he's not going to be able to stomp on us. And you can see here with the snub, I believe I'm able to take out the first tank, yeah, on the first shot. Or on the first turn. So 1/3 of the health is gone. What this does is, besides really ticking him off, it increases the amount of missiles he launches from 2 to 3. So now you're going to have 3 reticles that you need to avoid each turn. The nice thing about these missiles is that if you have an emergence hole or if you have a Reaver drop off locust reinforcements, the explosion will kill the enemies as well. So you can see he's focusing on Sid and Gabe right now. And you can see roughly how much ground he covers every time he moves. It's not, I don't know exactly how to measure it, but he closed about a little less than half the distance between where Sid and Gabe are and where the Brumak started. So you can use that to kind of gauge how far you need to be away from the Brumak to be safe from the stomp attack. And here we have our first emergence hole. That emergence hole is almost always going to be there. That's one of the first ones that pops up. It's either there or it's to the left or west, I guess, of where Sid and Gabe are right now. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to run over with my scout, and I'm going to have her plant a frag grenade directly on top of that E-hole. And then she's going to get out of dodge, make sure she's out of the blast zone from both the frag and the missile. And I'm going to move my sniper Michaela up. And that's going to give me a good line of sight on the Brumak. And hopefully what we're going to do here is put some damage on the tanks again. We want to keep focusing on those emulsion tanks, and just that's his real weak point. That's how you kill him, by wiping out all the emulsion tanks. And the big trick with this, or with this entire mission, is it's not, the missiles are easy enough to dodge. The chain guns don't do a lot of damage. The big issue that I have is that the Brumak always gets too close and does his stomp attack, which kills me. So that's the difficult part. It can get a little hectic as well when you have an emergence hole open up, or if you have a Reaver drop off reinforcements. But that's fairly minor because the reinforcements, there's not many of them. So there are 4 locations that E-holes can pop up. One, you see where one is right now. There's one on the other side of the map behind where Sid and Gabe started. And then if you put the current E-hole at, let's say, 11 o'clock, the one across the map from where Gabe and Sid are, say that would be 1 o'clock, then there would be another E-hole that can pop up at about 4 and another E-hole that can pop up at about 7 o'clock. So you've got 4 locations where you can have E-holes spawn in, and they are random. I've had the 4 o'clock and the 1 o'clock pop up first, and I think I've even had the 7 o'clock one pop up once as the first one. But it's random. Usually if you move your characters down, like halfway down the map from where they start, you can reach the E-hole in time to plant a frag on it so you don't end up having reinforcements come in, but that's not guaranteed. So again, it's a little RNG, it's a little bit of luck of the draw. But enough about E-holes, let's get back to what we're actually doing here. You can see that the Brumak is shooting at both Gabe and Sid with the chain guns right now. Sid is just tanking that damage. Yeah, he's in cover, but he's wide open to that chain gun. And here come the missiles, so we're going to have one highlight on Marcella, we're going to have one highlight on Gabe, and then we're going to have one sort of highlight on Michaela. And then there's that 4 o'clock E-hole that opened up. And this one's going to be a bit of a challenge, or would have been a bit of a challenge if I hadn't moved Sid down here, but thankfully he's close enough that he can plant a frag right there. Boom. And then he's going to boogie on out of there, so he's out of the blast zone. So he's nice and safe. He's not in any close proximity to the Brumak. I don't need to worry about the stomp attack on Sid. The only one I need to worry about is Gabe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and run up my scout and really try to draw some aggro from Gabe. I really don't know how the AI decides who the Brumak is going to focus on, but apparently it decided to focus on Gabe. So we're going to try and draw some aggro away from him by using, I was going to use the sniper, but I didn't realize that the Brumak was out of range. So that just leaves my scout with her pistol. Does a little bit of damage. He turns and realize, well, I really need to figure out how I'm going to get Gabe out of here, because right now he is sort of hemmed in by the Brumak. Like, I don't think there's enough space for me to run by him. And it's a bit of a challenge. Like I said, this was captured during a stream, so I was kind of talking out loud to myself as far as what am I going to do. And it's one of those things like, okay, so I definitely don't want to overwatch. I hit the wrong button there. And all I can really do is try to run this way as far as I can. I'm going to try to use that little bit of extra distance you get at the end of your move to maximize my distance away from the Brumak, and I'm just going to book it all the way across as far as I can. And I honestly didn't think that this was going to be far enough away to prevent the Brumak from stomping on me, but, well, it was. So you'll see that on the next enemy turn. I had an extra shot, so I did decide to attack the chain gun for no other reason than screw the Brumak, and I wanted to hurt him, so doesn't really serve a purpose other than taking out aggression. Alright, so now we see the E-hole is going to open up on the enemy turn, but thankfully Sid had planted a grenade there, so no reinforcements. And there come the missiles. That was clean, totally missed us. That's where Gabe was. That one missed as well. And that's where Michaela was. It does destroy the cover and knock her away, which isn't ideal because it pushes her further away from the Brumak. But the Brumak doesn't even come close to stomping on Gabe. It does, however, use its chain guns quite effectively here. And the first one, I believe, destroys the cover that Gabe's behind. Yep, and hits him. And then he uses his other chain gun to hit Gabe again, or tries to hit Gabe again. But you're going to see, thankfully, Gabe is able to tank that damage and doesn't die. He's down to like 100 health, so he's not doing great, but he's still on his feet, so we're okay. Michaela, Sid, and Marcella are getting targeted, and I actually had a Reaver drop off reinforcements, and I've never seen it happen after destroying 2 E-holes. Usually it's if you destroy the first one, they'll drop off reinforcements, but I've never seen them drop off reinforcements after destroying the second E-hole. So this one threw me for a bit of a loop, and I knew what I had to do was get Gabe as far away from that Brumak as possible because the Brumak was still focusing on him. So I'm going to use the grenade from my scout to take out the 2 wretches and make sure that they don't use their reflex attack to hit Gabe. And then I'm going to move Gabe as far away as I can and hide him over here behind the corner. I'm going to make sure that he's out of the blast range of that missile. But again, the big thing is he's now far enough away from the Brumak that the Brumak's not going to be able to stomp on him or anything. So that's good. And now I'm going to sort of use Sid as a little bit of a sacrifice here. I'm hoping that by leaving him in the wide open, it'll actually draw the RNG of the Brumak, not the RNG, I'm sorry, the AI towards Sid instead of towards Gabe. Of course, the first shot was going to miss, but that's just part of the game. It's part of playing on Insane, and, you know, we'll deal with it. So we're going to, again, just keep working that back and forth. We want to keep our units on both sides of this Brumak and try our best to focus all of our fire on the emulsion tank. Again, I like using Michaela for this. Her high crit and high damage is very effective, especially with that chain shot ability. Again, I'm saying, well, not much else I can do here, so I'm just going to shoot at his arms just to tick him off a little bit. Try to draw that aggro towards a different character than Gabe. But missiles come down, no damage. I still got 1 rifle drone who's on the board with the Brumak, and you know, he's not really doing all that much. The Brumak is still definitely your priority. Chain guns, thankfully, now are focused on Marcella and Michaela. They both take a hit, but that's okay. They can definitely afford to take a little bit of damage. Next round of missiles are coming in. We're going to have 1 on Marcella, 1 on Sid, and then we're going to come back here and we're going to see ones on sort of like the edge of Michaela. That drone's going to run up here and sort of sit close by to the Brumak. And what I see here is an opportunity to get a little bit of health back. So I'm thinking I'll just use my chainsaw, run up here. He hops over, Gabe hops over, and he's going in for the execution, which is nice. That's going to patch up not only Gabe, but the other characters as well. And then I still got 2 more action points because of the rush ability, so I'm able to get back into cover. Sid, again, I'm going to move just outside of the blast zone here, focusing solely on the back of that Brumak. He's the only character that I have on this far side, so I'm not really looking to do a lot of damage. I'm just looking to turn him around so I can get Michaela some shots on his back. Using the pistol is great for this because it's a better ranged weapon. So there he goes, turning around, exposing his back. And I'm going to use Marcella, who is right there with her shotgun, 100% hit chance to take out that second emulsion tank. So he turns back around. Now he's really ticked off. And we're going to continue to work. I've still got two action points with Marcella. The Brumak stayed facing Sid instead of turning around, so that means that I can actually hit him again with my shotgun. So I'm going to do that. Nice chunk of damage there. And then because I have free cloak, I'm going to ghost. Oh, I thought I was going to ghost. Maybe I don't. That's right. Okay, so I'm checking to see what I have for skill. So I do have free cloak. I'm going to use it. That gives me 1 movement plus 1 AP plus 20% movement. So I'm going to move Marcella out of the blast zone and away from that Brumak stomp attack. And now I've got Sid, who has 1 AP left, and try to get a hit on that emulsion tank to turn him again. There we go, he turns. So now Michaela's able to do her thing, and I'm going to fall back with her away from that blast zone. I'm going to try to only use 1 AP, so I have 2 left. And there we go, we got plenty of hit percentage, and that was a nice critical hit, dropped it down to about half health on that last tank. Unfortunately, there's not much else I can do right now, so I'm just going to fall her a little further back to keep her away from that stomp attack. And that's going to wrap up all the turns that I have, or all the moves that I have. And now that we've destroyed 2 of the emulsion tanks, we're actually going to have 4 missiles to contend with from the Brumak. I keep wanting to say Swarmak, but it's not a Swarmak, it's a Brumak. So the Brumak is still hiding right behind the corner here, and his left gun is far enough over that it's going to be able to hit Gabe. Or should be able to hit Gabe. So Gabe misses him, which is awesome. And then he's going to try and hit Michaela because he knows that the Brumak's right gun was too far behind the building to hit Gabe. So even from that distance, he still missed. So that's awesome. I didn't actually take any damage that turn. Definitely like that. But now here we go. We got 4 missiles. And you'll notice their accuracy is a little bit off with each successive barrage of missiles. So whereas before the characters were right in the middle, now you're seeing they're kind of on the edge. And I don't know if that's intentional, like, oh, the Brumak's getting frustrated and hurt, so he's not as accurate with his launches, or if it's just part of the game that's like there's no real reason behind it. But whatever, I'm not going to complain. We did see that we had a E-hole pop up. So we've got 2 choices here. Could either waste a turn trying to seal up that E-hole, or we can just try and take out this Swarmak in 1 turn. Using the positioning of Marcella and Michaela, I'm actually going to move Marcella around behind the Brumak. I've got my sprint action ready, so that's going to get me up close. Oh, I don't even need to use the sprint. I'm just going to use the shotgun. And try to keep this guy turning so I can actually utilize all 3 characters who are left. Gabe, Marcella, and Michaela. So a little bit of a risky move here because there's no guarantee that we were going to make it work, but we did. Don't have to worry about that last E-hole. All 3 tanks are destroyed, and the Brumak is history. So a fairly clean run, not the cleanest I've ever had, but definitely gets the job done. Unfortunately, we get the legendary diagnostic scope, which I do not use at all. I don't find it to be very effective on insane difficulty. So even though it is a legendary weapon, or whatever that classification is called, it is not very effective. Gonna skip our cutscene. I'll open up the cases that we got as rewards, and that is going to be the end of the video. So we got, I don't think anyone levels up. Nope, nobody levels up this turn. Even though we did a lot of killing and a lot of executing. That's alright, but I hope this video helped you guys out. Stick around, there'll be more on the way, and until next time, as always, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please like and subscribe. You can also check us out on Twitch at Hammer Bros Gaming. I am Blades of God, and until next time, have a great day everyone.